Hello and welcome to my studio. In this video I'm going to show you how I made this picture. Controlling shadows could be what photographic lighting is all about. In this image I've used two lights, one for highlights and one as a fill. But it's the control of the shadows that gives the image impact. And in this video I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Okay, so this is the subject. So I've just placed all this chain and some other bits and pieces on this table and set up a tripod just in front of it. Now I'm going to be using a full frame digital SLR, which is this one, with a 24-70 zoom lens on the front and a flash sync trigger on the top. Now this can also control the energy in the studio flashes that I'll be using. Now the camera is tethered into Capture One software, so it's easy to see the results as we go along. Okay, so just to set up the initial shot, what I'm going to do is place this on the tripod like that. I'm just looking through the viewfinder. I'm just going to adjust the zoom ever so slightly. There we go, just like that. Just to tighten it up a little. Okay, and I think that focus looks about right. Alright, so the next thing to do would be just to do an experiment just to make sure that we don't get any contamination from the house lights. So I'm just going to turn the camera on, and the software has recognized the camera and we can see all the settings that I have here. So it's in full manual mode. I've got a shutter speed of 1/250th of a second, which is the flash sync speed for that camera, ISO 100, and an aperture of f8. So with those settings, I'll just grab an image and we'll just make sure we don't get any picture. There we go. Excellent. Alright, so that ensures that any light we add with flash will be the only light which actually affects the final image. Right, so let's start off by setting a light. Now I'm using a Profoto B1X, which is a 500 joule battery powered monoblock studio head. And I'm just going to place it quite a long way away and quite high. What I want to do is make this light a point light source so that it gives very hard shadows. So about there somewhere. And I've initially just set this on an arbitrary energy level. So I'll turn on the flash sync trigger and we'll select that head and just turn it on. Okay, so I'll grab an image and see what we get. So you can start to see the beginnings of an image there, but it's really rather underexposed. So I think it's about 4 stops, so I'm going to add 4 stops of energy to that light. There we go. We'll try that again. Yes, that's more like the sort of thing that I was looking for. So we've got some nice highlights coming through here. The shadows are very, very dark. Yes, I think that's working quite well at this stage. Okay. Well, that's a starting point, but the light is actually going absolutely everywhere. So it's lighting up all this background as well, which I think is detracting from the chain in the front of the image here. So what I'm going to do is add a flag just to get rid of the light which is falling on the background here. So here we are. This is the flag that I'll be using. It's just a piece of black cloth in a C-stand. So I'll just take that up in the air a bit, like that. We'll get this in something like the right position. So I just want to place it about here somewhere. Now in order to get it in exactly the right position, what I'm going to do is turn the modelling light on this head. So again, just select that head and just turn the modelling light on, like so. Now with the house lights on, it will be quite difficult to see what I'm doing, so I'll just turn those out. Okay, So with the house lights out, if I now move this, you should be able to see the effect that that is having on the set. So you can see where the light is hitting it, and if I just move it just a bit further back like that, there, I think that's in about the right position. Now obviously, to check it properly, I'll just grab an image. There we are, that's starting to get there. That's made the whole of this background now go quite dark. This is what we had before, and this is what we've got now. Okay, so we no longer need the house lights out, and I can turn the modelling light off on the light over there. So we'll just do that. There we go. Okay, so the next thing to do would be to set the next light. Okay, so this will be my fill light, and this is another Profoto B1X, 500 joules, into a 3-foot octobox. So what I'm going to do is just put this so that it's going to go vertically down, something like that. There we are. Just take this up in the air a little, like that. And we'll just place this in position over the top of the set. There we go. Something like that. Again, this is just set on an arbitrary energy level around about halfway through the scale. Right, so we'll just select that head and turn that one on, like so. And we'll grab another test image. There we are. So what that has done is filled in all of the shadows. This is what we had before, and this is what we've got now with the fill light in position. Now it will be the ratio between the energy in the fill light and the main light which controls the depth of the shadows. So we might need to adjust that as we go along. But the other thing that I want to just address is that the fill light at the moment is the same colour temperature as the main light. So what I'm going to do is actually reduce its colour temperature, and I'm going to do that with a CTO gel. Just a small one like this, because I actually only need to cover the face of the unit. You can see on this one that these have a flat face on them. Therefore the gel only needs to be the same size as the face. So what I'm going to do is just open this up and just put this in here on the front of the flash head. There we are. So with that in position, just close that up and grab another image just to see what that looks like. There we are, and you can instantly see the sort of difference that we're getting there. So this is what we had before, and this is what we've got now. So that's starting to get there. Right, so I think the next thing that I want to do is just introduce another small flag just to address this area at the front. Now a lot of this could be done in post-production, but I always find it's better to try and do it in reality. Okay, so I'm going to use this piece of card as a flag, and I'm just going to place this on the edge just here, somewhere like that. It's a bit of guesswork, and the idea being that it will just flag off the very front of the image and possibly make it a little darker if I've got it in the right place. So let's just grab an image and have a look. There we are, and you can see that the front has now got considerably darker. I'll go back to where we were before. That's what we had, and this is what we've got now. If anything, it's possibly a little too far in. I'll just bring that slightly further out. Very small movements make quite a large difference. There we are, that's better. That's more like the sort of thing that I want. Okay, so we're getting there. There's just a little bit too much light, I think, at the back here. So again, I'm just going to add a flag over the top there at the back. So once again, I have a piece of card just in this stand. I'm just going to place this just in here. The idea being I'm trying to get it in a position that will just stop the light from here just hitting the very back of the set. Okay, so I'll just check that in the viewfinder just to make sure it's not actually in the image, which it isn't. And we'll grab that and just see what we get. There, that's taken down this area at the back quite nicely. And there we have it. That's all there is to this. It's fairly straightforward. All you need to be able to do is control the energy in the flashes and also place the flags so that it controls where the shadows are. Now with that image now captured, what I'll do is just go into Photoshop and do the bare minimum of post-production. So here we are in Photoshop. And I've loaded up the file of the image that I captured earlier. And as I said, this is more or less there. It was achieved in camera, so there's very little to do to this, but there are still some things that I'd like to do which I think might improve the image. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a duplicate of this file so that I can edit the duplicate and leave the camera original alone. Now the way I tend to do that is to just make a duplicate of the layer just by right-clicking the mouse, go to duplicate layer, ask for a new document, and we'll call that chain. And now I have the new document, I can close down the camera original, which just leaves this which I can now edit. So the first thing that I think I might want to do is just add a little clarity to the whole thing. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is just go on to filter up here and apply the camera raw filter. So the camera raw filter has all sorts of controls that we can adjust the image with. So under basic, we have texture and clarity. Now it's far too easy to go too far with these, but if I just do that on purpose, you can see the sort of result that you could get. So it tends to be a little too grainy and too intense if you turn these up too much, especially the clarity. So we'll just knock those back ever so slightly. So we're just getting something which is a bit like that. Yeah, I think that's a nice improvement. So we'll click on OK, which will then commit those changes. Right, now the next thing I'd like to do is just take down this background even more. Now we did take it down with the flag over the top, but I still think it could do to be reduced a bit more. And also I'd just like to take the edge off this bit. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is add an adjustment layer, and I'm going to add a levels adjustment layer. Now with this selected, what I can do is take the levels of the whole of this layer down, like so, and just reduce the contrast in that as well. Might take it down a little more, just like that. Okay, now if I go back onto the layer, obviously this is the layer mask associated with that levels adjustment. At the moment it is completely clear. So if I now paint with black on the layer mask, it will reveal the original image. So just make sure that the foreground colour is set to black, which it is, and with a paintbrush, just check the size on that, and we'll make it quite soft, maybe a bit bigger. There we are. There we are, and I'll just take that and paint those bits through. There we are, that's going quite well. So that's with the adjustment, and that's without it. So we've basically just taken down all those bits like so. And I think those little adjustments have made a nice improvement to the image. So finally, I'm just going to select a crop. Now I'm using this for video, so I'm using a specific ratio of 16:9. And I think edge to edge it's pretty good. I just might recenter it a little, something like that. There we are, and I'll just commit to that. And there we have it. So this image's creation lends a lot to controlling the ratio between the fill light and the main light, and also the control of shadows with the aid of flags, etc. And we end up with quite an acceptable image, I think. Okay, well I hope you enjoyed watching how I made that image, and if you like watching these sort of things, do click on the other pictures as they appear, and don't forget to subscribe. Oh, and click the like button. Thank you very much for watching.